Hello, friends. As a part of our farming endeavor, so I'll be giving an overview on drumstick leaves and what is the evidence with regards to its nutritional value and the health benefits. So, I'll speak on this in Kannada. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. So I'll just talk through this in English because I'm growing moringa and I'm growing drumstick as an intercrop with macadamia in 6 acres land. So it is imperative that we all understand the usefulness as to why I choose moringa. So I'll do another video on the cultivation of this particular plant. What are the key things that we need to know when we are into farming moringa? So moringa, as you know, is called drumstick in general sort of a words, and the biological name is Moringa oleifera. And one thing, friends, it's the most nutrient dense edible plant. So if you have to talk about one sort of a vegetable or a plant material with very high nutritional value, it is moringa, because whatever you can imagine should be the content, good contents in a plant or in a vegetable, you find it in moringa. So I would call it as a superfood, super leaves or super pods. So because the fruit or the vegetable that you eat is called pods. So I'm sure most of you would have seen. So the leaves are also are of very high nutritional value, and this vegetable we call it as pods, PODS. So this also has a very good nutritional. So anything and everything of moringa is very good, and even the biomass that is created by this creates a good nitrogen resource for the soil as well. And so the contents of this leaves, moringa leaves, it has very high protein, which is very unusual for a plant material to have high amount of protein. So I'll show you the content of this. And it contains very, very high levels of vitamin A and carotenoids. And it has a very good levels of vitamin C. And it is, and one thing that we clamor for in a food is antioxidants. And moringa is a rich source of antioxidants. It has 6 antioxidants which are shown to have multimodal effects in reducing the chronic inflammatory conditions, which we'll talk about. So that is the beauty of this vegetable and the plant material. And it has bioactive phytochemicals. That's why you could call this as a superfood. So high amount of protein, which is not easy to find in plant material, and very, very high amount of vitamin A, carotenoids, and vitamin C, and 6 types of antioxidants and bioactive phytochemicals. And one thing, friends, it may be very nice for us to know is India is the largest producer of moringa or drumstick. And another interesting trivia about this is dominantly, almost almost the major part of moringa is grown in the southern states. And the state that leads in this moringa is Andhra Pradesh. So as per the statistics, Andhra Pradesh produces largest moringa, followed by Tamil Nadu, which produces PMK1 and PMK2 variants of moringa. And that is what we have planted in our farm. And that produces large, gives you a good produce of leaves and the pods. So Tamil Nadu is the second, Karnataka is the third largest producer of moringa, followed by Kerala. After this, Orissa is catching up with this moringa. It's a plant which grows in dry, arid conditions. It doesn't need much water. So I'll do a separate video only to talk on the key components or the prerequisites for growing this particular plant. So let's look into the nutritional value. So now the question is, which is better? Is moringa leaves more healthy or more nutrient rich, or it's the moringa pods? The answer summarily is leaves have more nutritional value. So you can see the comparison for 100 grams of leaves is compared with 100 grams of pod. So the energy delivery is 60 to 70 kilocalories for 100 grams. With the pods, it's 35. Pods is this vegetable. Pods is 35 to 40 kilocalories. Look at the protein, friends. It has 7 to 9 grams of protein per 100 gram, which is very good. With the pods, it gives you around 2 to 3 grams. It also contains carbohydrates. We need less carbohydrates. So leaves have less carbohydrates. Pods have higher carbohydrates, 7 to 9 grams in pod and 2 to 3 grams in leaves. And it literally contains potassium, magnesium, calcium. All three elements are present. Calcium, as you see, is a very good source of calcium, which is good for your bones, for aging people, 180 to 50 milligrams of calcium. So that's why it's a superfood. Pods contain around 30 to 45 milligram of calcium. It also contains potassium. You see, it's a good amount of potassium. And potassium is good because of the balance with regards to sodium content, which leads to blood pressure. So having potassium more is a substitute for mitigating your sodium levels physiologically. So it may be of benefit. 300 to 500 milligram of potassium and moderate quantity. Less than this is present in pods. Magnesium, we all know magnesium is so good for all our membrane stabilization of the cells, for cardiac stability. It contains 30. So you name a ingredient which is of huge benefit to our own internal milieu, maintaining good physiology of certain organs. This particular superfood has all these ingredients, 35 to 50 milligrams of magnesium in leaves, but pods has lesser. It contains iron also, 1 to 4 milligram. Pods contain zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.5 milligram. And look at vitamin A, very high content of vitamin A and carotenoids. And pods have lower levels of vitamin A. So if anyone wants good vitamin A, this is the go-to food to have good vitamin A. And vitamin C, we know, has so much of multimodal effects in boosting our immunity. And vitamin C has been used in ICU for the patients to improve the outcomes, although now evidence suggests that but in this, we talk about in healthy individuals, vitamin C is very protective for good immunity. It contains 50 to 200 milligrams, which is a very good quantity, friends. Almost comparable to guava, which is claimed to be much higher. So the highest is always amla, but this also has a very good, and pods has around 100 to 140 milligram. And it also contains B vitamins and folate in moderate. So what more you need, friends? You get proteins, then you get antioxidants, which I'll talk to in the next slide. You get calcium, you get magnesium, you get potassium, highest level of vitamin A, vitamin C. What more we need? I mean, once I went through this whole nutritional facts about this plant, it almost compels me that I should eat this every day for maintaining good internal milieu, friends. So what about the powder? So the powder, so the moringa leaves are nowadays in this state, it's the largest exporter. India is the largest exporter of moringa to all European and Middle Eastern countries, where these leaves are dried and made into a powder to make it more energy dense, contains 20 to 30% of protein requirement for the weight of the patients that you need, and contains this powder, since it is dried and concentrated, it has very high concentration of calcium, potassium, iron, and carotenoids, and significant amount of antioxidants. So this is what is conferring a lot of health benefits in patients with diseases also. So what are the six antioxidants? So it has quercetin, which is one of the antioxidants, and this is camphorol, one of the antioxidants, and chlorogenic acid, then polyphenols, carotenoids, and vitamin C. As you see, there are around six. Vitamin C also acts as an antioxidant. So these are the six antioxidants which has multimodal effects on improving the cardiovascular health, reducing chronic inflammation, and it also has ability to reduce blood sugar levels. So it reduces the oxidative stress, because we know the free radicals causes damage to the cells, as you see in this picture. So these antioxidants will reduce the effect of free radicals and reduce the cell damage, which also may be one of the factors perpetuating the onset of cancers. That's why this moringa may be very good in maintaining good cell health, reducing oxidative stress, which is shown to improve your cardiovascular health, reduces cardiovascular disease, and it has a beneficial effect in diabetes, in lowering the blood sugar level. And it is also known to show the slowing of the age. Aging also gets slowed down with the usage of uh, moringa, because of its antioxidant effect and good minerals, good vitamins, good proteins, which it has. So, if you look into the health benefits, there are five major divisions of the health. Most importantly, all the new age diseases, modern day diseases that we are seeing, cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, strokes, all this is due to chronic inflammation in our body. So basically you have these antioxidants which minimizes this chronic inflammation. So good anti-inflammatory effect. In fact, there are scientific studies which are done to show it reduces the inflammatory markers and help in mitigating chronic inflammation. So there is good scientific evidence. You can go search for the literature. I have looked into articles. There is a Spanish article which shows all the scientific evidence with regards with references to show how it. So the evidence is moderate, and most of this emerge from the preclinical data. And with regards to diabetes, Moringa is shown to reduce your fasting blood sugar, is shown to reduce the post-meal sugar levels, and it is shown to increase your insulin sensitivity, which makes your blood sugar control much better by consumption of this. Possibly every day one could consume in a powder format or in sort of food format, and again and have those beneficial effects that is confirmed. Why this has a benefit? That it has a good fiber and it has polyphenols and an antioxidants, chlorogenic acid, which helps in improving the insulin sensitivity. With regards to cardiovascular health, what more you need? Moringa is shown to reduce your LDL, which is a bad cholesterol, and it is shown to improve the antioxidants effects, which is important to reduce your vascular inflammation. It is shown to reduce your vascular inflammation with its antioxidant properties. Evidence appears promising, and data is from the preliminary studies is showing encouraging data. And it is also known to have liver protective mechanisms, but evidence is limited and data is preliminary. What about gut health? Because of high fiber content, it improves the gut motility and it is shown to improve the gut microbiome, improved gut motility, and improved nutrient absorption in the gut. So those are the multimodal. So these are the five broad domains of clinical benefit by eating moringa, friends. So the take-home message is moringa is one of the very high nutritious sort of a diet, or the vegetable or the leaves is a, so you would call it as a superfood, very highly nutritious. It contains very good amount of proteins, good amounts of vitamin C, very very high levels of vitamin A, all this which you cannot find in any one food item. And it contains six antioxidants, and it contains a lot of minerals like calcium, magnesium, potassium, and bioactive phytochemicals which are helpful in multiple metabolic diseases. So there is emerging evidence that moringa helps in reducing blood sugar levels, reduces chronic inflammatory conditions, improves cardiovascular health. So how would you consume? So the practical suggestion is consume at least 100 grams of moringa per day in a cooked format, in whether you can put it in chapatis, you can put it in any ingredients. So you can put it in any sort of a curries you make, any sort of a vegetables you make. It tastes good. I've eaten many times. It tastes, even you can put this in rotis and eat. Yesterday I had moringa put in a pulka and you can have. So this is something which goes well with anything that you eat normally. I would suggest it's good to eat as as a naturally cooked leaves rather than a powder. And I'm growing around 250 to 300 moringa plants. So I would encourage that people should use this and have the health benefits which God has given us in this format. If you're intending to take powder, maybe 5 to 10 grams per day, 1 to 2 teaspoons, this powder can be put into maybe the soup. Soup would be the best to put this powder, or some they suggest even it can be put in the buttermilk, or it can be even put in the dal. If you're making a dal which you would use every day, put these 2 spoons of moringa, and it does not have that unique smell which puts you off, or some sort of a change in the taste that would put you off. It gels pretty smoothly with most dishes that you would ordinarily take every day, friends. So you can reach out once I do a large scale moringa farming. So maybe perhaps I would be happy to even give it off to all my good friends within who work in my ecosystem. So, and it's a easily grown, cheap. So we have put in a PKM1 and PKM2 sort of a breed is what I have put in my farm. So it should yield few tons of moringa, maybe in few, maybe 4 5 months. So that's about it, friends. And I'll do a separate video on how we grow this moringa on a farming scale. And I'll do this in a Kannada also. This I had to do it in English. I'll do this in my own language so that everyone gets to understand the beauty and the importance and the value of this important plant, which is grown so easily. God has blessed our land to grow this vegetable, friends. So thank you. Happy farming. Thank you, everyone.